Although, to be honest with you, you can't go wrong with a cock smoker. A good old chicken sandwich.
Please help me welcome at this time our good friend Brian O'Halloran. How you doing, man?
Golf claps, golf claps.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Good to be back. Kid, good to see you. Milo, good to see you as well. I guess Danica's out doing Halloween shopping, I guess. But tell her I said hello, and good to be back on the show. How you kids doing?
We're great. Actually, Danica is getting married on Saturday, so she is preparing for a wedding at the moment.
Like I said, Halloween shopping. Hello. You get dressed up, you have a fancy costume, you do sort of crazy trick or treats. Do I? I don't know. You have cake afterwards, there's sweets. Come on, man. And someone eventually toilet papers somebody's house.
Oh man, that sounds like a dream.
Yeah, I get it.
Well, we're so honored to have you back, Brian, and thank you so much for joining us again. One of the things we kind of wanted to start with right off the bat, and I'm sure you've been talking about a lot recently, Milo and I are rocking the shirts. These movies, pop-ups, restaurants have been so hugely successful. So we wanted to know kind of about your experiences going to some of the openings and maybe your favorite meal.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Kevin found a way to go beyond just making people pay for him to talk and making him pay him to get T-shirts and hockey jerseys and stuff. Now he wants to put stuff in your mouth, and I'm talking food. So here we go with a pop-up movies. If you know any of the movies, the first movies showed up in Dogma way back in the day. And so it then popped up again in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and then in Reboot and Clerks II. We actually worked at a movies. So some of those items, he was approached by a gentleman named Derek Barry, who had been doing pop-up theme kind of restaurants in different kind of categories, like the restaurant from Saved by the Bell, the restaurant from Breaking Bad, a whole bunch of others, and things went really well with that. And so he approached Kevin, and Kevin's like, this is a no-brainer. And next thing you know, we're having cow tippers and different types of hater tots. That's right. And the cock smoker, their chicken sandwich. So it's good stuff.
That's amazing. And I know you've been to a few of the openings.
I have.
What was the most recent one that you attended?
The most recent one I attended, God, they're turning into a blur. I know I went to the Red Bank one, which was the first one, the Jersey one. Come on, that's where you're going to kick it off. That's the place to do it. Even though they first started off in LA, it went like 2 weeks to almost a month. And then they came to Jersey, and that was a great one. I haven't been to any of the others since. Oh, no, that's not true. I went to the Orlando one.
Yeah,
that's
you went
right.
to Orlando.
The Orlando one. The Orlando one was really good. It was huge. I think it was the red or the tin roof.
The tin roof in Orlando, yeah.
Where the big eye is, the big Ferris wheel. And that was great. And those people were really awesome to do it. And each one does an extra sandwich or side dish that's a specialty of the area. Some do like buffalo chicken sandwiches. Some do like a coney, I think was in Michigan, which is like a giant fat hot dog kind of thing. There's a lot of kind of tweaking the menu when it goes from place to place, including drinks. There's alcohol drinks, there's seltzers, there's CBD infused stuff, a lot of craziness.
And what is your go-to order?
Yeah.
You know what? I like the I'm a big fan of the Beyond Burger, the Beyond Meat fake meat burger.
Oh.
It's surprisingly good. Although, to be honest with you, you can't go wrong with a cock smoker. A good old chicken sandwich, to be honest with you, and it's special sauce on the cock smoker. That's the way to have it. Is the way to go. So I actually I've been to a few of them, and it's funny because people do this. They keep the containers that they've had their meals in. Like this one is the Red Bank one.
Yeah.
And as you can see, even
paper.
The sandwich container, and it'll even say on there Beyond, because that's the one that I had the Beyond in. And people will just save the memorabilia because, it's kind of weird, and it won't be back unless Kevin decides to go full on, Ray Kroc and open his own chain of these things in places, which people are like, yeah, you totally should do it. So
I think I mean, I would be open for that. I mean,
Yeah.
does he have time? Who has time anymore these days? But
Oh, it's not like he's back there cooking them, honey. Please. He's just
fair enough.
he's just checking his bank account and seeing how many movie bucks are in there.
So funny story about the Orlando show is I went at opening, and Kevin was there at opening with his mom, which was really cool.
That's
And
right.
then so I went back home. My mother-in-law actually went during the day, and then she came back. She's like, "Yeah, there was this guy there. Everybody was getting their picture with him, so I got my picture with him." And so I was like, "Oh, let me see." And it was Brian.
There you go.
Kind of
I'd flown in that day, and from the airport, my friend, I said, "Hey, can we go to the movies first? Because Kevin is there and opening." And it was like within an hour and a half of him opening up the location.
Right.
And I thought he'd be hanging out for longer than that, but his mother wasn't feeling too well, so they had to leave early. But yeah, they had just said he had just left, and then I showed up, and Derek, who runs the whole thing, was there, and people just started, "Oh my God." Now, this was like, March, April-ish. I forget what time of the year it was. So, the mask wearing and thing was still very much full effect. So we would just take our mask off real quick just for photos and put them back on. And then obviously, if you were eating, you took your mask off. But it was the type of thing that people were looking for anything to get out at that point. And this was a good way to do it. And Kevin now has hit, my God, so many cities now that it's been opened, and I can't even keep track of where they're going next and everything else. But it's always been like when the first few were opening up, people were screaming from other cities, like, bring it here, bring it here. And so Derek works with the people, different restaurants who offer their space to be utilized. And once they have the basic things that they need, a grill top, a fryer, or things like that, the rest, all of that gets worked out.
That's so awesome. And the merchandise that is branded, specifically for each location is also so brilliant too.
I've spent so much money.
The artists that put together the logos, yeah, like they had the like the Chicago Bulls logo for the movies was the Chicago one. It was very cute. The Mickey Mouse ears for the Orlando location, as you have it as well, and the Phoenix Suns had like that basketball, but it was the movie. It was really, really cool, and everybody who takes care of that, I guess I can call it a division now, the restaurant division, the pop-up restaurant division, really know what they're doing, and they really know what the fans want.
And we
now
want
you just
movies.
wrapped up Clerks 3. Will we see movies in Clerks 3?
You will. And I'm not saying anything out of school,
Right.
because there have been photos where you see Rosario in the movies pull over the hoodie. So yes, you will see movies in the new one and other places as well. You guys are going to have a blast with this third one. I can't wait to talk about it, but I am contractually obligated to wait to talk about it because I can't spoil it. But I can't, and it looks like it's probably going to come out either late spring, early summer of next year.
Can you at least tell us about the filming experience, considering we still are in the middle of this, pandemic, and there's still masks and vaccinations and stuff? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was the oddest thing. Everybody, for the most part, the crew was pared down to basic kind of crew. Like an independent film crew in general is a basic kind of amount of people on set. This was even more so. And then there were zones. There were green, yellow, and red zones. Green, genuinely anybody can go through. Yellow was specific key crew members and cast. And then red zone was literally on set, ready to shoot. Essential camera people, sound people, set people, and actors obviously allowed. And so you wore a mask every single time until they said, go red zone. And then you would take off the mask. Last looks, meaning hair and makeup, come over, check everybody, see if they're ready for camera. And then we'd, settle down, roll sound, roll camera, and action. Take your takes. If there were more than one, you'd keep the mask off and do whatever tweaks that needed to be done, any notes from anybody, and then keep going until finally check the gate, make sure everything's good. We're good. Then masks back on again. And during that time in the locations, there'd be giant HEPA filters, like rollable HEPA filters that they turn on when camera wasn't rolling. And you were limited, especially indoors, to the amount of people in the space because they had CO2 meters, which, if there was a high CO2 level, for some reason, there was an issue with that can be spread with molecules and blah, blah, blah. So it was that kind of thing. It was weird, but we got through it. Everybody was really great because if you were tested 3 times a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you got the swab up your nose and it was sent out to a lab. The lab people would get back to you by the next day. If anybody had tested positive, they would have been offset for 10 days. So they were very, very like, please don't do any. We had weekends off. So we shot Monday through Friday with weekends off. So there was at one time a plan for Kevin to do his shows at his new theater in New Jersey, and me and Jeff and both Jay had a show. He could have went to Detroit for Astronomicon at one point during the weekend. Me and Jeff could have went to Colorado Springs Comic-Con for an event. But he was like, please, we're so close to finishing. Don't mix with people, because if you get knocked out for 10 days, that means 10 days they can't utilize you for shoots. So thankfully, nobody got any positive tests. So we were very lucky to get everything done within the 22 days that we had scheduled to shoot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's great. And we want to thank you for going through that process, because obviously this is something that we all want to see so badly. And we know it's not the most fun process to have to, put on the mask, shove the thing up the nose or whatever, but we appreciate it so much that you guys were willing to do that for us, for the fans. And we cannot wait to see this movie. I'm pins and needles. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Kevin has screened it for Lionsgate, who is our distributor, to for the first pass of the edit, and they loved it. He's having a friends and family screening as we speak in LA. I'm on the East Coast. Jeff Anderson, who saw it earlier, who plays Randall. I just saw him this past weekend up in Bangor, Maine for their Comic-Con. And he just told me how great it was and how everybody did a fantastic job. So I'll probably see it in the next coming weeks when Kevin is back here on the East Coast. He'll set up probably his house or wherever he's going to be staying in New Jersey. So I'm looking forward to it. I know that the cameos that we got and the other co-stars we have in this are going to just really, the fans are going to really, really enjoy. So, and I don't know, I mean, we have an upcoming event in the beginning of November and at Rhode Island Comic-Con, where it's literally almost the entire cast is going to be at that con. And I look forward to seeing if Kevin brings a trailer to screen for people.
Oh,
that's just my thought. He didn't tell me that. That was just my thought. But yes, there you go.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. That's amazing that everyone outside of filming can be in one place at the same time. So, well, you have to keep us posted, because I would love to hear what you have to say. Obviously, no spoilers, but very exciting. Okay, so kind of to pivot just a little bit, since you did bring up Halloween earlier, we wanted to know, and I have to say, Milo came up with this name. He wanted to call it Halloween tradition. So do you have any traditions that you like to do around the spooky season?
I do like decorating the house very much with Halloween items in the front of the house and things like that. A friend of mine a couple of friends always have a Halloween party, usually a huge blowout kind of Halloween party. And I go back and forth as to whose party each year I go to. So I always look forward to that. As far as like traditions, like we make candied apples and we don't have any of those kind of like really cutesy kind of like I make pumpkin ghost cookies. No, that's not happening over here. But I do enjoy watching. I really do enjoy watching the traditional Universal monsters, 1930s, 1940s kind of black and white films, at least once or twice, especially Dracula. I have an affinity for any Dracula or vampire-based movies, except Twilight. That's not a vampire movie. And that's the kind of thing I enjoy. As you can see, I literally have a Dracula goblet right behind me. So
there it is. I love it.
So when you go to these parties, are you dressing up too?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've dressed up quite a few times. Every party anyway, I dress up. I've dressed up like a steampunk kind of character once. I dressed up as an Egyptian pharaoh, and my girl was Cleopatra. I've dressed up as a vampire. I've dressed up as one time I couldn't get dressed real quick, so I just grabbed my movies smock and just put that on as the last minute. I'm like, I'm this character from this really stupid movie. So that's when you really phone it in.
That's great.
I've dressed up as a few things over the years that I've enjoyed.
Do you have so besides the Dracula, in the black and white, do you have like a favorite, like like a traditional Halloween type movie, like a Halloween or a Trick or Treat or anything like that?
I'm a big fan of The Exorcist. It's not Halloween based, but it's a horror film. I really enjoy that. Fright Night is another, Chris Sarandon. Fright Night is another great one because it's not your typical kind of vampire movie. Things like that. Those type of films. The Omen. I remember when I was a kid and when The Omen came out, people used to call me Damien because I had that kind of kid, kind of nerdy, kind of haircut kind of thing. And so I would use that to my advantage because I would just tilt my head down and give them the Kubrick stare, that kind of like, yes, that's right. Man, right.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
And back in the day, I did have a widow's peak too. So.
That's amazing.
Is there a movie or a movie franchise, or again around the horror theme that you think would benefit by adding the View Askew universe to it?
Ooh, that's a good one. Any of the Tim Burton movies, I mean, you could add that kind of thing too. But if you're talking traditional like Halloween, Fright, Nightmare on Elm Street, I think it would be hilarious if like Jay and Silent Bob were on a Nightmare on Elm Street kind of thing. Be like, yo, this shit is too much, man. What are we selling? I smoked way too much. I'm seeing shit like crazy in my dreams. It's so funny too because we were recently at Horror Hound in Cincinnati Con, and Robert Englund was literally my neighbor to my right. So it's funny that we bring up what franchise would it fit most, and I think that'd be hilarious.
There it is. I love it.
Go ahead, Matt. That'd be fantastic. I'm gonna agree. Nightmare with Jay and Silent Bob, fantastic.
I'm into it. Well, okay, so a controversial question, Brian.
Sure.
Are you team candy corn?
No.
Okay.
No. Candy corn, it looks awesome. It's just, it might as well be gravel.
Okay.
It literally is just like, but I mean, it's like, it's corn syrup and they just like, what are we missing? I don't know, flavor?
Yeah.
There's no flavor to it. It's just straight up sugar. Sugar.
No, I'm not a fan. Not a fan.
Not a fan either. But it looks great in a bowl. Someone has it in a bowl in their house, looks hilarious.
Right.
Okay. Love it.
So I want to, again, change gears a little bit. I want to talk about a mutual friend of ours. And I just want to talk about how you met him and how you end up always on his shows at conventions. And that is our friend Dana Snyder.
I just saw him too this past weekend. He was also up at Bangor Comic-Con. I love Dana. Dana and I have a mutual respect for each other's talent and each other's frustrations and each other's just sarcastic misery that we can just go, am I right? Aren't you right? I know, right? It's so, I can't stand it. It's just awful. I just hate it. And this is the worst Dana I've ever done. But the greatest thing about him is that he says things on a different plane that I'm like, oh, bro, I totally get what you're saying. And then I'll just feed that fire and just let him go even further. So whenever we do his podcasts with Guy Hutchinson and Drunk on Disney, especially, and the topics are just get way crazier. The more we drink, and B, the further away we get from actual Disney topics where people actually complain, this has nothing to do with Disney. Oh, well,
that's what the live shows are about. And I think it's the best part.
Yeah. So I love him. I got to see him. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see him enough this past weekend because while we were there, his agent called him. He had to record a couple of episodes of a certain show to replace somebody. and they found like a podcaster's equipment, and they ran to this, quiet office in this part of the con to record, like a couple hours of some episode stuff. It was quite funny.
Him right now.
Yeah, I want to know what it is.
He's one of the hardest working men in voiceovers.
Absolutely.
And also kindest.
He has 3 shows on TV right now.
I know.
Yeah, I think he had the billboard in Times Square this weekend too, right? For his
yes, he did.
Disney
He
show?
took a video of it. That's right.
Craziness. Well, yeah, that's awesome. Shout out to Dana. He's amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing him in a couple weeks at Spooky Empire. That should be a lot of fun. So okay, so something else that Milo and I wanted to talk to you about. When we Google you, so to speak, it always talks about how you are Irish American, which I think is so cool, so wonderful. And we wanted to know about Dante wearing I can't pronounce it either now, Milo. Yes, the ring. Help me with the pronunciation. Clattering.
One ring to rule them all.
There it is. So was that something that you personally brought into the character, or how did that come to be?
It was something I wore all the time. It's something I continue to wear. And my family is from the region of Ireland where that's from, the West Coast, the city of Galway, from the Claddagh regions. The Fisher Kings, they were. The Fisher Kings of Galway were the people who supplied food for most of Western Ireland during the Irish potato famine. So they were pretty much the mob. And so when you were loyal to the Fisher Kings, your family was giving, or the head of your family was giving, the loyalty ring of the Fisher Kings of the Claddagh, thus the Claddagh ring. So that's why the crown represents the kings, the Fisher Kings of Claddagh, the community of the hearts coming together, and the love for us, the love for the kings, and the love for the country. It had, since jewelers got a hold of it, it's been bastardized with that. It's a love ring, so you can't be given. You got to be given it, and if it's out, you're single. If it's in, you're taken. If it's on this finger, no. That's a jeweler's sales pitch to you to buy the ring. What it is technically is a mob ring that's handed out as loyalty to get around the city and to do business. If you were doing business with other people and you showed that you were part of the Fisher Kings Claddagh, you were able to get business done, that kind of thing. So getting back to Dante, because I wore it all the time, Dante Hicks. Hicks is actually an Irish name. Kevin Smith, his family is of Irish Catholic heritage as well. He didn't care that I wore it, so I did.
Oh,
and then even Clerks II, I wear a Celtic cross. That's something that I wear on my own, and I wore it during, and he had no problems with that either. So
that's
there
awesome.
you go.
Yeah, that is so cool. I always thought that the ring was very neat and interesting, but this is the first time I've actually learned.
Now you have a little history.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That is very cool.
So I think it was about a month ago on my show, I actually had Siobhan Fallon Hogan.
Oh, right on.
And we talked about the movie Rushed. How did you end up? So you actually played a priest?
An Irish priest. It was every Irish mother's dream for their son. You know how certain ethnicities want their kids to be doctors and lawyers. Irish parents just want their kids to be priests or nuns. So I finally got to play a priest in this movie. I met Siobhan at the Garden State Film Festival. Both she and also myself were both being honored with awards at the festival a couple of years ago, and we were seated at the same table. I actually had my mother from Ireland with me at the event, and we just got to talking. Her whole family is Irish descent, and have land over there in Ireland as well, and so we just got to talk, and she's like, I have this upcoming movie. I'd love for you to be a part of it. And it was pretty much from there on is how I got cast. And when I saw the roles that were available, I'm like, priest. I totally want to play the priest. And they were like, done and done. And there we go. And they did a great job with it. From what I've been told, I haven't seen it myself yet. I know it's on streaming services, available on Amazon, and I believe on Apple TV as well.
Yeah, on the Vudu. That's where I purchased that on the Vudu, just to give a cheap plug out there.
There we go, on the Vudu.
Now, that being said, as far as Rush goes, do you see yourself as a fraternity type guy? Would you have rushed?
No, I never would have joined a fraternity. I had a fraternity. It was called my role-playing group. That was my fraternity. and you were hazed by, you were the one that had to pay for all the food for that night, that weekend of role playing. So yeah, the Greek life would not be for me. That being said, I don't besmirch anybody who has, as part of a sorority fraternity, have done great things. Some of them do great things for the community most of the time. This movie looks on the darker side of being part of a fraternity, and that is the hazing part of it.
Right.
And the story is somewhat, a young man passes away. The mother tries to find out, to get to the bottom of what happened the night her son died in a hazing accident. And so that part of it, which too much happens to come up on the news, you never see the good that these communities do for the community, that these fraternities and sororities do. But in the end, everybody needs to just be careful out there. If someone's asking you to drink, giant gallons of vodka or something, well, running naked down a train track with the train coming at you, it's not worth it. They're not your friends.
I mean, that happens.
No, it shouldn't. That's
No?
so bad.
Running naked on the train tracks is.
That's
You should only do that for fun. Got it.
Nah,
Yes.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, Brian, since you mentioned role playing and the food, which is obviously the most important part, what is the ideal food that if you're playing a long RPG game, what are you hoping is there to eat and drink?
Okay. Something caffeinated drink wise. So iced tea, back in the day when I did it, this was the only thing that had it was Jolt. Jolt Cola.
Jolt Cola. Yeah.
Jolt,
was the endurance drink of role playing, or a whole bunch of Mountain Dew, because Mountain Dew, I think, was the higher caffeinated drink back in the day.
With Code Red.
Or Code Red. Well, now it's Code Red, right? But I'm, and then, you're hoping to see like deli sandwiches is usually good. No bean products. Yeah, no Franks and beans, because it's a long session and we're all in the same room. If we're Zooming, then eat what you want. But otherwise, yeah, no dairy products, mayonnaise based products, that kind of thing. Be kind to your fellow players. But also drink wise, it's each to their own. I'm not a big fan of people who actually drink alcoholic drinks during it. I think it dulls your thinking abilities, your critical, puzzle solving kind of skill set. But otherwise, when I was a kid, whenever Burger King or McDonald's had $1 Whopper or $1 Big Macs, we were like, done. At the time, I worked at a fast food chicken place, so I would bring, if I knew we were having a long weekend, I'd bring a bucket of like 32 pieces of chicken for all of us to have, and there'd be 4 to 6 of us playing at one point, depending on what game we were playing. So
you must have been very popular with a bucket of chicken. Hell yes.
Oh yeah, it was totally, but everybody puts in the $5. Like, I'm not just springing for it all every time anyway. Plus, my friend who was the game master, his parents, he and his family were of Dominican descent. So a lot of the times his mom would make, dinner upstairs and make an extra big batch for us, and then she'd ask, do your friends want some? And we were like, do we? And we'd be all up there having his mom's great beans and rice and chicken and stuff like that, and it was always great.
Yeah. So did you ever get to be a dungeon master, or is that not, do you prefer to play rather than run a game?
No, yeah, I'm pretty much a player, and to be honest with you, the GM that we had was such a phenomenal writer of stuff and creator of things. And this is so funny because our circle of role playing, as what we were as teenagers and what we became as adults, was exactly how we were in the role playing world. My focus in the game was always performance and doing it right and setting the mood. And I always had cassettes ready to go of all these soundtracks to click in and play music to get the mood going. Our GM was a phenomenal writer in his own right, who went on to have books published, who then went on to win the Pulitzer Prize for his book, and he now teaches up at MIT creative writing. And then one of my other good friends was always about, is everybody prepared? Or we got this and that? And he became he went into the Army and became a combat surgeon, is now one of the premier plastic surgeons here in New Jersey. Another friend of mine became one about like, well, we have to make sure we get the mission done and stuff like that. And he at one time was a conflict resolution officer for the New York City public school system. So it's weird how what we were as gamers became pretty much what we became in real life. It was weird.
Okay, I love that. I love that so much.
Right?
That's amazing. Well, okay, so Milo, I think since we have 2 games, why don't we do the games now, and then Brian will plug all your upcoming events that you have going on.
Sure.
So Milo, you want to set up your game first?
Absolutely. So this is a thing that I like to do on the Milo Beasley Show, where it's called the Milo Beasley Show Frequently Asked Questions. And these are the same questions that I ask to every guest on the show. There's no right or wrong answers. First thing that pops into your mind. So question number 1 is going to be, who was your first celebrity crush?
Ooh, that's a good one. First celebrity crush. I mean, everybody was doing it back in the day. So Farrah Fawcett was not a bad one to have a crush on. And it's a toss up between her and Wonder Woman herself.
Oh,
So the original Wonder Woman. So those were the 2 there. You know, Eartha Kitt's kind of voice kind of got your engine growling as a young man. But
right.
I would say because of that poster alone, Farrah Fawcett.
Okay.
Good one.
I dig it. I dig it.
I'm old.
No, I get it. 100%. Heather, you want to ask the next question?
Okay, sure. So what is your guilty pleasure song?
Ooh, guilty pleasure song. I don't have a song. I have a guilty pleasure artist.
Okay.
And it's going to be weird because it obviously it changes, you know, year after year after year and stuff like that. But anytime I hear any like Katy Perry stuff, really weird. But yes, it's just like, yeah, I'm singing Katy Perry. That's right. You know what? She kissed a girl, and I kind of liked it.
I think we all did.
Yeah.
Huge fan.
Yeah.
All right. So question number 3. This is a would you rather. If you had to, would you rather fight a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
I'm gonna say 100 duck-sized horses. And hear me out.
Okay.
I think I could tame them all to run like a stampede somewhere. Like, come on, I'm not going to fight you. Let's just do it. As opposed to trying to, you know, pun intended, duck and weave while this other duck the size of a horse is trying to fight me. So I'll say 100 mini ducks, mini horses.
I would love to see one of the mini horses. Like, they would just be so cute.
Oh, so cute. So we don't have the technology quite yet, but we're almost there.
I think Avatar. I think we'll see them in Avatar too.
When does that come out? Anytime soon?
Who knows? I know Disney already has the ride already set up, so I have no idea.
Right. All right. So the final Miley Beasley Show frequently asked question, and I'm sure you've been the answer for many of these before. Do you have a favorite film quote?
Do I have a favorite film quote? I obviously, you know, I come from quite a few movies that have incredible, memorable quotes. So I'm not going to quote one of those, but quite a few of them are my favorite quotes. You know, you got to love any of the Arnold Schwarzenegger 1980s kind of 80s action movie quotes were always hilarious. Like, I'll be back and get to the chopper and see you at the party, Richter, when he's cut the arms off from, you know, from the evil villains. So anything from Arnold Schwarzenegger is always a fun, quotable thing. So it all depends on the situation, but see you at the party, Richter. There you go.
Also, very commendable Arnold impression.
Oh, thank you. You know, we had a really good time, and it's the thing that I've been in this country now for quite a while, but I still don't have you know, an accent that I respect. So here we go.
Wow. Better than your Dana. Better than your Dana. But okay.
Yes.
All right. So part 2 of our game is another round of Would You Rather. So you know how to play this. Let's just get to the game. So I'll read the first one. So would you rather for Halloween this year dress up as Juice Demon, Creepy Husband, or Pubescent Frog of Silent War?
I think Creepy Husband I could do pretty damn well.
Okay, we go with Creepy. But like, couldn't they have come up with like a better name for the knockoff of the Addams Family costume? Creepy
Right.
Husband?
I mean, yeah, but I mean, instead of, because his name was the husband's name
Gomez.
Gomez, right? So instead of Gomez, why don't they just call him Gonzalez on this? Like, it's so different yet so similar. It would just be like Creepy Gonzalez. Although that sounds like a dirty sex. Would never believe it. You wanted me to do a Creepy Gonzalez. Can you believe it? But anyway, that's what I would, instead of Creepy Husband. It's weird. Or Gonzalez Husband or Husband Gonzalez. I don't know.
Yeah, any of those are available. So Spirit, if you're looking for another name, Brian.
I don't know, man.
There you go.
They're so good. I think the worse name. I think the worse of a name that they pick, the better the option is.
Okay.
And since when did what's his name from Superman need to dress up as a pubescent frog of a silent war?
He's in hiding.
You know,
he does look like him, doesn't it? Am I the only one that sees it?
No, a little bit.
No, I see it.
It's yeah, absolutely. All right, Milo, ready?
Yep. So, would you rather sing a duet with Yoda or sing a duet with Emperor Palpatine?
Yoda, come on, man. What's great about singing with him is he sings the lyrics in reverse.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Instead of sing us a song, you're a piano man. It'd be more like, piano man, sing a song, you will. You know what I mean? You just have to make sure you're on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, you would have to
sing us a song. We're here for a melody, and you're all going to belong. Ja, 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 ja. I say Yoda.
Good answer.
Totally.
Good answer. Good answer. All right, here's the next one. Would you rather compete with Jeff Anderson on Supermarket Sweep or compete with Jeff on American Gladiators?
See, this is full disclosure. I worked in a supermarket for 4 years, so there'd be no competition. But I mean, when you say compete with, he's my partner.
Yes.
Okay, then I would totally do Supermarket Sweep because I have much better skills at pricing things out than actually wrestling with actually physically fit human beings. We would last, like, I forget what the first obstacle used to be on that show. It was like you literally just ran through them at one point or tried to get by them.
Right, yeah, the gauntlet.
With the tennis.
Yeah, the gauntlet. It was like, nope, not doing it. So I would say definitely a Supermarket Sweep.
Okay. Good answer.
I've always wanted to go on a Supermarket Sweep, man.
Me too so bad. I would get everything wrong though.
Now it's great because it's hosted by Leslie what the hell's her name?
Oh my gosh. Joe, wait, what? Oh my gosh.
From Saturday Night Live.
Yes,
yes.
SNL. Yes.
Leslie. Anyway.
What? She's just a first name now.
Jones.
Right.
Jones. Thank you, Jude.
So.
Thank you, Jude.
Appreciate you.
Leslie Jones.
All right. Next one.
All right. Would you rather visit the oldest
pub? Come on. Done. Does anybody know me? I would drink in a pub. Kissing the Blarney Stone? Forget it. It's like kissing granite. Come on. Next question.
Okay, next one. Would you rather bring back Sam Goody or bring back Walden Books?
Ooh, good question. See, now this is much more difficult because Sam Goody actually, as you can even see the prices on there, Sam Goody always actually had really good prices on their music. Thus, they went out of business. And Walden Books was good because they actually at one time did have a role-playing game section in their store before it became super popular. Because, role-playing is super popular. So, Now everything is streaming. I'm going to say Walden Books.
Okay, good choice. Good choice. We were trying to think of more like fun stores from like the 80s and 90s. Like the Discovery Store was so fun. Of course, KB Toys.
True.
There used to be a Warner Brothers store. I missed
Circuit City, Radio Shack.
Radio Shack. Now they're
that.
only online. You can only order stuff from Radio Shack online.
Man, I need those malls again. All right, we got 2 more.
All right. So, would you rather perform in a production of Death of a Salesman or in a production of A Streetcar Named Desire?
I'm going to say Death of a Salesman. 3 to 5 characters. It's actually incredibly important now. I think it would speak to audiences now, especially with the economy that we're going through. No shame in the game for A Streetcar Named Desire. I physically am not the desirable type, so it would be a disillusion to the audience for me to be in a production named that. So, but I would say Death of a Salesman.
One of the best plays ever written. All right. And our final question. Would you rather be stuck in LA traffic with Kevin Smith or be stuck in an elevator with Jason Mewes?
Okay. I've been on multiple airline flights with Jason Mewes.
Okay.
Which is pretty much feeling like you're stuck in an elevator. So I've already experienced that. So I would rather be stuck in LA traffic with Kevin. He has better air fresheners in his car. Yeah, I'll go with air fresheners. And he never stops telling stories. So I would be entertained more so, while Jay would be more panicked that he can't get to his computer to start streaming on Twitch. So I would say stuck in traffic with Kevin.
Good choice. Good choice. All right. Well, that's the end of our game. And since we're getting to the end of our stream, you have a lot of upcoming appearances. So we just want to plug. I mean, you're very popular. You're very popular.
Well, what's made it popular is because Jeff Anderson has finally been convinced to hit the road with us. So that's been really great. We were just together up in Bangor, Maine for their Comic-Con. Their Comic-Con. We have something coming up, actually. I have something coming up with GalaxyCon this Saturday, which is this, yes, there you go. The cast of MallRats is going to be at a virtual meet and greet. You could also put in orders to have autographed items. It's Jay, myself, Renee, Jeremy London, and Oles. I forget how his name is said. Sven Olvig and the incomparable Michael Rooker, who I believe is doing autographs only. We'll be doing that this Saturday at 2 p.m.
Hosted by Milo Beasley.
That's right. Hosted by Milo. That's right. He'll be the host of this virtual meet and greet. So I'll be seeing you again in just a couple of days.
Yep.
Then after that, I do have a Nerding Out Con 3 up in Rochester. That's Rochester, Minnesota. Look at me right next to Scott Steiner.
Whoa.
Do we not look like a match or what? There's a pair. And my good friend Jason Mewes, Nicole Eggert, and Ming Chen, and quite a few others are going to be there as well. And then this big one. This is a huge one. The Rhode Island one you brought up earlier. There's so many of us are going to be there, and Kevin himself will be there for a couple of days.
That's great.
Kevin Wiseman as well, Scott Schiaffo, Chuli's Gum Guy, Marilyn Gigliotti, the original Veronica from the first movie, Trevor Furman from Clerks II, and then, of course, like I mentioned earlier, Jeff, myself, Jay Mewes, and Kevin. And then in the upstate New York area in Saratoga, there's November 20th and 21st. Me and Jeff will be up there for that. And if anybody wants to reach out to me on social media, those are the sites right there. I do have my own podcast, streamcast, which I haven't been able to do in the past couple of months because I've been filming or on the road, and that is the O'Halloran, and you can catch those on those outlets as well.
Heck yeah. Well, I guess a final question is, since you have been given these opportunities to travel, is there a convention or a country, state, city that you haven't been to yet that you're hoping to get to do a convention in?
I would love to go to Japan just in general, but it's weird because Clerks doesn't really, as a cultural movie, doesn't really translate to one of the most work oriented. The company is the number one kind of culture. So Asian kind of countries don't quite like the disrespectful service clerk. It
Mm.
doesn't make sense to them. So I know it won't. If I go over there, it'll be because I was a character in a Star Wars movie or something.
There
Hopefully,
you
You- if you're listening to me out there, JJ, just saying, you know,
go.
or Mandalorian for that matter, I'll be good. One of those type of things. But I've been to Australia and I've been to New Zealand. I would love to return back to either one of those countries because they were just absolutely amazing to visit. The people are absolutely sweet. The country and the culture is so rich and stuff like that. I've been to London for a Comic-Con. I haven't done anything in Ireland yet. I'd love to go to Dublin Comic-Con, to be honest with you, just so I can be ha ta ti ta 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 to and just mingle with my brethren. Um, but otherwise, there's so many shows here in the United States where I don't think there is a weekend that doesn't go by without a show somewhere going on in the United States. So the ones in the States have been keeping me busy. I know a lot of fans on the West Coast are always like, hey, when are you coming out to the West Coast? And trust me, we're working on it, especially now that Jeff Anderson has joined our group, our representation group, ZSC Entertainment. We've been getting a lot more bookings. And I know the good folks over at GalaxyCon are just restarting the lineups for next year's actual cons as opposed to these virtual type of cons. And I look forward to the upcoming cons that they'll be promoting soon enough. So, there's a lot of things that got canceled, obviously, for 2020, where if people don't understand when you sign a contract with a con that in case anything gets canceled, you make it up to them the following year is usually the follow-up of these things. So I'm hoping to get back on the horse with those.
Giddy up. Well, Brian, thank you so much. This has been such a delight. You are so much fun. My face hurts from laughing and smiling so much. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you and, of course, Milo hosting the panel virtually this week. And like you mentioned, if you're, since you're not out on the West Coast quite yet, make sure to check out galaxyconlive.com to, I believe the stream is free, but you can also purchase autographs and,
That's
all
right.
that jazz. But until we meet again, guys, thank you guys so much. Oh, I guess I have to go over the upcoming guests. My bad. Okay, sorry. I got a little too excited. Okay, so next week, Tuesday, we have Dale, the bassist from the band Seether. Thursday, we have Captain Sutherland and Nikia Baris from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The following Tuesday, we have Nick from the band Bayside, and we're ending Spooky Month with Steve Gonzalez from Ghost Hunters, and we're very excited. And yeah. So that's that. Once again, thank you so much, Brian. Thank you, Milo. And we'll see you guys real soon. Bye, everybody. Bye.